everybody, and welcome to another episode of Perfectly Queer. We are your wonderful hosts. Blizz, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Blizz. Ash, what episode is this?
This is episode 9.
Let's go. Episode 9. Oh my god.
I know. Wild. But
Oh
it's
wait,
episode
introduce
9.
yourself because I accidentally introduced you on accident. Now that I think about it.
You did. So, hi, I'm Ashley Robato. I am a streamer, host, content creator, general ball of chaos gremlin, and I am here to host for you with my pal Blizz. Would you like to formally introduce yourself?
Yeah, what's up? I'm Blizz. I'm a true crime streamer, gamer, just chatter, content creator. I also am a producer for Rooster Teeth, and I do a lot of things. And also a co-host with Ashley on this amazing, perfectly queer show.
Yes, indeedy. Oh my gosh. I hope everybody is ready for a wonderful freaking episode today because today's episode is all about uplifting voices under the trans umbrella and acknowledging Trans Awareness Week. So happy Trans Awareness Week.
Happy Trans Awareness Week!
It's a wonderful, beautiful week. Very exciting. Very wonderful. It's going to be
great. I hope my neighbors heard me. I hope they're like, what's going on?
Hello?
It's Trans Awareness Week.
It is.
You're welcome.
Hello. It's a beautiful day. We've got some wonderful not here guests that we're going to read some questions and answers from, and some actually here guests that we're going to talk to later. But this episode was made possible by the absolute wonderful generosity of Crystal Dynamics, who earlier this year raised funds for us during Pride Month to go towards a stream that uplifts trans and non-binary voices. So that is this stream right here, which is fantastic. So thank you, Crystal Dynamics, for that.
Everyone say thank you, Crystal Dynamics, in chat.
Everyone say your thanks, because it's so wonderful. Love when people can do that, because look, it's great hearing from people, but it's even greater when people can get paid for educating.
Yeah, it's putting the money where your mouth is type of thing. Like, if you're going to stand up for something and be about something, make sure your actions also correlate with that. So
absolutely great.
Should we get into I guess a little background of what we're about to get into? So,
absolutely, yeah.
Y'all are youth voices who, if you didn't know, are the young people who have partnered with the organization to offer their unique stories and words of advice to other queer youth around the globe. They've created 2 videos for us to watch today on what Trans Awareness Week is and why it's so important. And it's probably going to spark a little bit more conversation coming from us, because we always have things to say. Me and Ashley.
We do. We have so much to say, and I know that we do. So I'm kind of trying to get us into the meat and potatoes of the episode before we get sidetracked, because we have a lot to cover.
We have a lot.
Yes, it's like, let's just go. So do you want to hop right into our first TikTok that we have to watch?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play it in 3, 2, 1, now.
It's Transgender Awareness Week. November 13th to November 19th is a full week of advocacy and bringing attention to any issues faced by the trans community. This is the time to share experiences, educate the masses, and celebrate trans joy.
I hope you're taking this time to celebrate, but to also educate yourself on the legislative attacks against transgender people in the past year. Right now, there are 376 active and 85 passed anti-trans bills in Congress alone.
These bills are making it so that trans youth cannot access gender-affirming care, trans youth can't play in sports that they want to play in, so that trans youth don't have access to bathrooms that they want to use.
I challenge everyone watching this video to become aware of the anti-trans legislation that is possibly precipitating in your own community.
This Trans Awareness Week, it is more important than ever that you look into the elections that you can vote in, whether those be locally, on the state level, or federally.
And if you're too young to vote, or you want to do more, call your lawmakers.
I encourage everyone to research your local community and find out if your local school board is trying to pass anti-trans legislation. Because if they are, and depending on the school board's policies, any member of the public can go and speak during those school board meetings.
We need to get registered, get to the polls, and vote.
Wonderful. Wonderful. My goodness. Wonderful editing from yet another youth voice. Eli. Wonderful
It was
job.
nice that our previous episode, we actually talked about ways that you can, get prepared to vote, even if you're someone
Mm-hmm.
who's young or younger and can't vote yet. There are certain steps that you can take to make sure you are registered immediately. And there's other methods of, letting people know where you stand, like calling your lawmakers and stuff like that. So that's really important.
Yes.
It's so important to vote, y'all. It really
So very
is.
much important. Oh my gosh, yeah. I love how they also listed like multiple different like steps of voting, like federally, but also like locally, municipally, just like everyday things that will, impact your day to day and stuff like that. So anti-trans legislation that's like in your backyard,
Mm-hmm. Definitely in your backyard. I don't know. I'm really big on voting, and I'm also really big on like the younger generation really fighting for it, because it makes me think that, we're kind of in good hands. Like, they're really doing it. They're really pushing towards it. It makes me really positive about the future, especially that the youth is so well educated at such a young age. Because I'll be honest, like, I'm 27. I'm not that, like, I'm not old, but when I was that age, I was not that well educated in what's happening
Yes.
around the world, because I guess at that time it wasn't really serious for me. But like, it's
Mm-hmm.
serious for a lot of the younger generation, because it's it's going to affect them a lot more. It's going to affect
Yeah,
us as well, but it's going to affect them a lot more. So,
absolutely. It's honestly incredible watching just all of like the youths just be so involved, because I know that I feel like the youths are always fairly involved, but they're definitely more involved than I think I ever was, which is very cool. Very, very cool, and I'm very proud. I feel pride. But we have
um,
another TikTok to go through as well before I think we can
yes.
unleash the floodgates of conversation. So shall we jump into that as well?
Yeah, I'm just also like, I'm always ready for the floodgates.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, let's watch this right now.
In a time when trans people are under attack, Transgender Awareness Week is vital to depoliticize our existence.
It's a time to celebrate diverse identities, experiences, and journeys.
For me, it is a lot of looking into the media and looking at trans creators who are doing amazing things, and trans filmmakers and artists, and celebrating that and celebrating all that trans people have to offer.
If we can boldly stand up for ourselves and each other in ways big or small, we can create community that is stronger than any hateful rhetoric.
Time to call attention to all the things that are happening politically towards trans teenagers and kids and adults.
Education is the cornerstone of progress. It enables us to advocate and to protest for what's right, and at the same time, it also helps us to dispel ignorance.
The message of the week that resonates most with me is that when we are aware of our community, we are aware we are not alone, and that is so important.
Oh, I love.
I will not cry in the beginning of this episode.
No, I refuse.
There's no crying allowed in
No.
the beginning of the episode.
Suck that back in there.
Yeah. But that's like the tea, though, because they like, you're not alone in community whatsoever. And it's really important, especially during this week, to also look at the joys happening.
Yes.
Like, fighting for the change, but also looking for the joys and celebrating the joys, because therapy time, if you do not celebrate your wins, that can lead to a emotional or mental burnout. And that is, you got to celebrate your wins and celebrate your successes. That's 100% the thing you have to do.
Absolutely. 110%. You have to, celebrate your victories, because I feel like I feel like it's in human nature just to like, maybe not human, it's just easy to focus on the negatives, because I feel like they eat you up faster. Like, you can hear like 500 nice things and then one negative thing is going to stick with you, right?
Yeah.
But like, you just have to make it a habit of like paying attention to those nice things, paying attention to those like good moments, those celebrations, and actually like give them the time that they deserve. So your mental energy isn't going just to the negative stuff. But yeah, And remember, yeah, that you are not alone and you're surrounded by a lot of people who, that you can find a lot of people who believe the same kind of stuff as you and are working towards the same goals as you and stuff.
Yeah, I will say Ashley and I are going to yell at you and say you're not alone because you have
Yes.
Ashley and I. So technically, what you said
I
was a
did.
lie. We are here.
We are indeed. Oh my goodness. Which I feel like, I'm sorry, I'm jumping back to the fact that it's episode 9. We're going to be in like double digits episodes next time. And that's wild. Wild. But sorry, that just hit me.
It hits, but we'll get like as the stream ends, we'll talk about what the next episode is going to be, and it's hilarious, but
It's
also
going to be so
like
fun.
a fun time. So we talked about how we had guests who are visibly here, and then guests who are like not here in a way, but they like wrote in something.
Yes.
So while we couldn't have them on the stream today, we asked 3 of the youth voices, Eli, Aki, and Mia, questions to learn more about Trans Awareness Week with their own perspective. I can read the first question. You want to popcorn it, I guess? Is that what it's called? Popcorning it?
Ping pong?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can do that. That sounds great.
Okay. Trans Awareness Week is not only about uplifting trans voices, but also ensuring folks have the resources and education they need to fight against anti-trans rhetoric, bills, and etc. In the TikTok, Aki notes how Trans Awareness Week is vital to depoliticizing trans people's existence. How do you navigate wanting to spread awareness and educate your peers about your identity while also ensuring you take care of yourself since this is so personal to you?
Okay, I will start with Eli's answer.
Okay.
It's definitely a balance. I think for me, I've been out for such a long time that being trans is so fully entwined in my being and vital to who I am that it's second nature. Obviously, it can be tough to constantly think about the bad things that are happening to trans people, and it can be really scary and hard to deal with. But that's exactly why it's so important to me to spread awareness and talk about my experiences. We are just kids, but I'm sorry, that really hit me right in the chest. We're just kids, but aside from all that, I like to scroll TikTok to relax and I take lots of naps. Love a good nap, honestly.
It's sometimes like the world can just kind of be a lot, so I 100% get it.
Oh, yeah.
And then also there is a thing called activism fatigue or activist fatigue, where you sometimes need a second to process everything that's happening, and like that could be in the form of naps. Processing could be in the form of naps. So I definitely get it. I really do. Aki's answer: one thing that's helped me navigate this balancing act is finding supporting communities where I can just be me without having to worry about explaining myself. It's in these spaces that I can recharge and reaffirm my identity. That way, when I go back into the world, I can be a better advocate both for myself and others.
Awesome. Wonderful. All right, Mia's answer is I usually first evaluate the setting and determine if it is safe for me to openly advocate for trans folks. For example, in public, I may wear a trans pin on my bag or introduce myself with pronouns so certain people indirectly know I'm an ally without putting myself in danger of people who may be transphobic. This way, I can protect myself while still being true to myself in the trans community. It can be pretty hard sometimes, especially online where so much hate is rampant. I encourage everyone to be sure to know your truth and explore what can keep you grounded during hard times so you don't burn out and can keep advocating for others. And yes, advocation burnout is so real because when you advocate for something, you have to basically let that kind of consume you while you're advocating for it. And also you're advocating against negative things, and having that be your whole existence and can be exhausting sometimes, and you need to rest. And I know that it can be hard to do that sometimes, because if you feel like you're not constantly advocating, then you're not failing, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I feel like that's not true, and you should always take time for yourself.
Yeah. Oh my God. An empty cup can't fill other cups.
Yes.
It's just the tea. I do like the pin method. I wear a pin on my I wear a rainbow pin on my work bag. Uh, and I'll when I go to lunch, I carry my backpack with me. And I had someone compliment "Oh, I like your rainbow pin on the bag. Like it's really nice." And I'm like, "Are you ally? Are you
Hello?
like?"
Oh,
You're cool. Okay, cool.
oh,
You're
yes.
cool for saying that. Have a great day. Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I do like having that be around because that is an indicator to me that it's a safe space. You're a safe person to come to about queer things or trans things or anything in general. So I really like that. I like Mia's answer a lot.
Me too.
Okay. So the next question we have is what helped you in learning more about your identity, and or how has art been an outlet for you in exploring your gender identity? And also feel free to share anything you've currently been working on.
Okay. Eli's answer is media and popular culture have been such important parts of my coming out and my journey to self acceptance. The main reason I realized I was trans was through trans YouTubers and short films. It has been really fulfilling to now be making short films and putting them out there for other trans youth to find and be helped by. I've used art to talk about subjects that scare me and explore new areas of my identity I'm unsure about. I think film is one of the best mediums for exploration and experimentation, which is fantastic because I feel like we talk about this a lot of like representation and just like the way I think, which is like I think greater for like younger generations now, is that representation is easier to find online because of so many online personas and people that are like out like loud and proud online and making this like these kinds of content. And I just think that's great because I feel like I talk about it all the time of just, you know, I like to talk about being bisexual a lot because I feel like I try to be, you know, like that person that's someone who like might be unsure about consent and be like, oh yeah, okay. Maybe it is like more chill to be like loud. And it really makes me so happy that Eli like helped find themselves through like YouTubers and short films and now they're doing that too.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm constantly saying, "Hey, I'm Italian." I keep constantly I'm saying, "Hi, I'm bisexual," to the point where my chat's like, "You're bi? Wait, what?"
Wait, huh?
The lighting, the everything, and I mean, it even goes into like my job as well. The reason that I started working where I work is because I felt like there needed to be more representation in the content world, and you don't get a lot of representation from a queer Black man somewhere that is mostly catered to only serving white straight people. So I'm like, no, that's representation is 100% matter. And like, there are people in the space, in the video gaming space, that need to see themselves in the content. So let's change it. Let's work on changing that. So
Absolutely.
Aki's answer, having the opportunity to connect other queer people is what has really helped me learn about my identity. It may seem counterintuitive, but learning about the lenses through which other views the I swear I can read, but learning about the lenses through which others view the world has aided me in reflecting on my own identity and realizing there are really no limits to it.
Yes. Wonderful. I feel like that is also, yeah, like just being around other queer people is so helpful in finding yourself because like just seeing how other queer people like present themselves and present like their gender identities and stuff, it's like, oh yeah, all right, we can do that, cool.
Yeah.
And that's just awesome.
Is streaming our art? This is our art in a way.
Yes, I'll say yes. I'll say yes with a thumbs up.
It's yes, but then also you're an artist too. So like it's like that is your art as well.
Look, art is many a thing, and streaming
True.
can be a wonderful art, you know?
True.
I do love it. All right, Mia's answer was being in spaces where I can affirm my identity without judgment has been so beneficial for me. I love following social media influencers like Blair and Money who create educational content about being gender diverse as it helps me feel a sense of community and belonging. And we're right back at it with representation and like influencers and content creators.
I'd say Blair Money is really sweet too. I got to do, I think it was on Blair's bisexuality in like 30 seconds thing. And I was like, this is super
Fun!
cool. Yeah. They reached out to me and asked if I could do it. And I was like, yeah, I'm 100% down. So that's a really cool creator to definitely look towards, especially for quick education that could potentially plant the seed of like wanting to learn more in your head. So
That's awesome.
highly, highly recommend.
Fantastic. I love very much. Those are wonderful answers. thank you
These
to
are
our
really good
wonderful
questions. Who made these
voices.
questions?
Yeah, these questions are great.
These
Everything's
are
great.
good questions.
And also, yeah, big snaps to our youth voices for being wonderful. So well spoken and thoughtful and cool. It's wild. It's just like, yeah, reading like these answers and then hitting the we're just kids, you know? It's like, oh,
By the way,
right.
we're just kids, but like, look at all of this. And you're
Yeah,
like,
like,
wait,
hey,
that's so cool.
so cool. So cool. So
What's it like
wonderful.
being cool in school, huh? Being cool kids. Never learn.
Yeah, gosh. What's it like to just be some people I look up to as I'm way older than you?
Bottom line, we are impressed, and
We
y'all
are
are
impressed.
cool, and it's very inspiring seeing the younger generation be so forward and ready to fight, honestly.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yeah,
I
and that's
love
the
it.
kind of stuff that makes change.
It is.
So it's so wonderful to see. And I'm so proud. I'm so proud always. Gosh dang it.
Should we,
Is it time?
hear me out,
Mhm.
should we have 2 guests today.
We do.
Should we bring in 2 It Gets Better project ambassadors with us today? I don't know how you're feeling about it. Should we?
I think we should. I think we should. I think we should do it. I think we can do it right now, actually. Shall I bring them on the screen? There's lots of people in chat who are very, very stoked to see them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. And we're going to bring them on right now. Hello! Welcome
Hi.
to the show, Ian and Bea. I hope you're both having wonderful, wonderful days. My goodness. How are you doing? Oh, I think you might. Oh. Oh, I can't hear anything.
Oh no, we got rid of Ian. What happened?
Ian, why you're
Okay.
silent?
No, I think you're there.
I can't hear you speak.
That was so weird. It said no to me. This is disgusting behavior. I don't know what happened. I was silent.
It's Ashley's
It
fault.
wasn't
I'm saying
me.
it.
No,
It's Ashley's fault.
I mean, I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame.
I don't like an enemies to lovers trope. I'm sorry, Ashley.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry.
see, now we have a vendetta.
Sorry, everyone. We had beef about Baldur's Gate and
We did.
romancing.
We did
before
have
the
beef
show.
earlier. It's okay though.
Well, we'll start with Ian. Could you do me a huge favor? Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, your pronouns, what you do on Twitch, or in general.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Dan Watson. I'm a queer variety streamer, plays mostly cutesy games, and if they're not cutesy, I make them cutesy. It's that easy. I go by any pronouns. I'm gender fluid, and I have to say, like, I try to just spread queer joy, but I immediately got emotional listening to those videos because I do so much for little Ian. I always say, this is for little Ian. This is for little Ian. And I get emotional seeing, like, I didn't have anyone like me growing up at all. And I still feel like it's so many people. I'm like, I don't know a lot. I don't know really a lot of gender fluid creators in general. And so, like, seeing all of this and seeing all that representation made me so excited. So it was just amazing. So that's all I wanted to say.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, Bea, why don't you introduce yourself, your name, pronouns, and what you do on Twitch?
Hello, my name is Bea, or Bea Plays. My pronouns are she, her. I mostly make Roblox content, and I sometimes play Overwatch as well, because I started as a Roblox YouTuber originally, and sort of spread out onto Twitch as well. I think throughout all my content, I try to make it a point that my community is a really nice, big, warm hug kind of vibe, like a big safe space for everybody, regardless of who they are or who they love or how they feel or whatever they might be going through in their lives. Because for similar things to what Ian said, I think growing up, I grew up in a really rural town in the middle of nowhere in England. So I very rarely still now see anybody who's like me or really any LGBTQ plus people. And I think growing up, my only exposure to LGBTQ plus people was like 90s TV shows where they used to put the people in those roles for the characters purely because they'd be like a jerk or be silly or made fun of a lot. And I think growing up, that really irritated me because it made me feel, like the only representation, the only time I got to compare myself to anybody was negative. And upon finding trans YouTubers, which was the point, I think, where it was a turning point for me. I realized that I'd really like to be able to share some more of my experience with people. I noticed that there was especially in early days of YouTube, I felt like there was a lot of American or North American YouTubers who were talking about these topics. I didn't feel like there were many British people. And obviously, the process, especially the medical process for being trans in my country, is vastly different to any other country. And I felt like it might be helpful for young people who are going through these things to experience and or at least I could understand my experiences with going through it too. And I like to make a point as well of with my content, I like to showcase the fact that being trans is a huge part of who I am, but it's not all of who I am. There are so many other things about me and about my personality that make me who I am. And I think sometimes when you're young and you're LGBTQ plus and you're going through that process of figuring yourself out, it sort of consumes you and becomes the only thing you focus on, and you worry about the fact that other people are only going to focus on that part of you. And I think it's important to show people that there's so many more things to us. We're still just people. And so that's kind of what I focus on when I make my content and play Roblox and be silly and just do really dumb things, but with hopefully a good message underneath.
I like that so much because both of
Mhm.
you talked about, in a way, you didn't see it, so you became it. For whether it was for
Yes.
yourself or for other people, I think that's really just
Mhm.
really nice, really inspiring. I've been going to therapy, and that's something I'm working on, is doing something for the literal me. So, like, hearing you say that has just been, it's very validating.
Everything is for little Ian. I always say, especially when I first got an It Gets Better ambassador, I was like,
Mhm.
little Ian screamed because little Ian never thought adult Ian was going to be like out at all. Like
Mhm.
that was never going to be in the cards. I was like, no, I'm going to just be a famous actor. And at the time I was like, actors can't be gay. And I was like, what? And as I've grown and developed as a person, it's like who I am so in awe of, like the change from the beginning to now. I'm like, I can't not be authentic now. Like I just can't. And so it's just really cool to be like so me. I don't know.
I love that.
I
That's
love the
beautiful.
energy.
It
Sorry.
makes me so happy. My goodness gracious.
So we do have like a couple of questions to just kind of ask y'all. It's going to be like free form, just open, whatever pops up. If you want to continue talking about it, that's fine. We do have a list though, just to kind of start the conversations. And hopefully like share a story, share a little bit of your personality a bit. But when did you first connect with slash affirm your own gender identity?
You want to start, B?
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
even pick. Yeah,
You did
sorry,
not pick.
B.
That's
Sorry.
okay. We'll figure it out. We
I
said
just am
freeform.
I jump
No.
so often, so I'm always like, calm down a little bit, Watson. Calm down. So I'm just like,
I think the first time that I really felt like I was affirmed and felt really comfortable was when I was young, again, with not having much representation. My family had no idea how to help me with what I was going through. I was raised with my parents who, luckily for me, are very kind, very accepting people, and they always made it very clear to me that they would accept me no matter what. I just threw a curveball that was bigger at them than they were expecting, I guess. They had no idea how to help me or support me. And to be honest, I think at that time period as well, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but like we're talking about 10 years ago, I still feel like a lot of medical professionals still didn't know what to do either or how to help. I think the first time I felt really affirmed was I found a YouTuber called Steph Sanyati, who I
I
absolutely
love
love.
Steph.
She's so wonderful. And I watched her videos a lot when I was younger and trying to, I guess, understand better what I was feeling. And she would talk a lot about experience she had. And when she would refer to herself in those situations of how she was feeling, I would sit and I would think, this is exactly what I'm feeling, and nobody else in this world so far has been able to describe what I'm feeling like that. I've never had somebody like explain it or talk about it and me think that's exactly what I'm going through. And I think that was the first time that my head just sort of went, I'm right, this is exactly what I'm feeling. This is what I'm going through. And I'm not the only person in the world who is. And I think she does an amazing job, especially through her content as well, of making you feel like there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that was the first time that I kind of felt really affirmed. I felt really comfortable because I was like, this is it. I don't need to be confused anymore. I don't need to question anymore. I know that this is it because it was exactly like what she was explaining. And I think that was the first time I felt really like genuinely euphoric in the moment because I I knew that somebody else understood, I guess. Even if she doesn't know me and has never met me.
I love
Well,
That's
that.
amazing.
I'm loving like just again representation is very important for validation of the human experience. So
Hmm.
loving that.
And just
Love
like
it.
what a big effect that like a person could have on you that you've not met, but you're so thankful. I don't know. I think that and you can feel the gratitude. It's just like really I think it's really cool. I've always said I'm on a constant gender journey. And so it's never ending. But like it's really hard because I kind of go through these like I've never really was like, that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. Because like when I was in college, I was surrounded by like gay people and I was so
Mhm.
excited and I was like, there is like a missing element here and I don't know why there's a missing thing that we don't all understand here. And then I started seeing stuff after I graduated and I was like, oh, I am not like I felt so othered in a way, mostly just in my head, but I felt
Mhm.
so othered that I felt like I had no one to talk to. And so I do see like pockets of like, oh wait, no, I do agree with that and I do feel like that and I do feel like that, but I still always just kind of feel like I'm like taking it and taking little pieces that make me feel seen, if that makes sense.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I kind of personally for me, like in terms of bisexuality or just seeing a queer black character in a TV show, a lot of the
Mhm.
times I have not found to this day a queer black character or a queer black animated character that I can say, oh, I 100% resonate with.
Yes.
Been a lot of like, I'm picking from different characters, different parts of characters, and I'm like, cool, now if this existed, this would be it. You,
Yeah.
Yes, one day, Liz, one
One
day.
day.
one day.
One day more. Sorry, I don't know why the musical came in. Okay, so sorry. I don't. It just happened. The intrusive thought won.
Welcome to the
Yeah.
musical episode of Could You Imagine?
No,
Could you imagine
yeah,
musical
yeah,
episode of Perfectly Queer?
y'all. We have an
So good.
announcement. We have an announcement. No.
Yeah, we are actually making. Oh my god! Next episode is a musical.
Which is not. It's
It's
not. That's
not.
not the
It's not a
secret
musical.
or anything.
Oh, I'm leaving.
Oh,
I gotta
I'm so
go.
sorry.
No, but I would totally get that.
I'm so sorry. We've already, kind of touched on the whole looking at people in like the industry as like influencing you both. But you're both streamers. What influence has gaming and or streaming had on exploring your gender identity? Let's start with Ian this time.
I now found my people. It's so nice because for the longest time, like we make friendships so much off of like proximity, right?
Yes.
And you don't know who really gets you. And I found people who get me as a person, like to the core of like like what I think is funny, and like they all know where my brain is going, and I'm like that doesn't happen. Everyone always thinks like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, I'm sorry. That's how my brain works." And having all of that has made me feel so affirmed as who I am as a person in all aspects of who I am as a person. I just feel like it's okay to be like all me as possible. I always like I get as quirky as I want to be because it doesn't. It's who I am, and I don't have to apologize anymore. I
Mhm.
walk around a lot of the time like I felt like apologizing for my existence. Like, sorry, I know I'm a lot. Sorry, I know it's this thing. Sorry, I know this thing. And I got very good about being very comfortable in knowing who I am. I don't care if you know who I am. I got very comfortable in that. But then it kind of shed a little bit of that shell of like the barrier, the armor, when people are like, no, I see you. And you're like, okay, I do like when people do see me. Thank you. Thank you. It does help.
Yes. Very true. Wonderful. I also feel similarly. Streaming has super affirmed just every aspect of me and made me,
Mhm.
it like amplified me as a person from when I
Yes.
started. I totally agree. But B, how about you?
I mean, I think very similarly. Again, growing up really rural and in the middle of nowhere doesn't really make it easy to make friends. When I left school, personally for me, I didn't really I came back right after leaving, so I didn't really want to know anybody that I went to school with. I kind of wanted to be able to start fresh, like brand new, and just have like in my head, I kind of imagined I was like, this is me now. I've been someone else, play a character for a while, but I get to do and be who I am now and move forward. And I think if that wasn't for content creating and being online, I probably wouldn't have had any friends because I didn't really leave my house very much. I just like to be inside. So it's obviously opened my eyes to so many spaces with so many different people. I think the best part though for me is that it really opened my eyes seeing so many different creators who are trans. It opened my eyes to the fact that there are so many different ways to be trans. Because when I was growing up and coming out and going through, like, especially the medical process in the UK, they always want you to check boxes all the time. They always want you to fit this, like, perfect description. It's so heavily, like, politicized. It's so heavily, like, medicalized. It's so over the top and intense. And humans aren't like that. We are not individual things that fit into perfect boxes. And it's so strange to me that we've grown as a society where we seem to expect people to just fit these exact descriptions all the time, like we're a product versus individual people that are unique. And I think I ended up coming out of that process and feeling very much like there was parts of me that were wrong and parts of me that were okay and parts of me that were affirmed and parts that were not. And it makes you feel like, I feel like you get so in your head about it. Like, am I really trans? Because this thing that they said makes you not trans, apparently, and this thing makes you trans, but I don't feel that way. You know, there's so many like things that they tell you all the time and make you feel like you have to fit perfectly into those boxes. And I think having access to a plethora of other creators who are going through this and talking about their experiences, they have things that they experience that I don't, and things that they experience that I do, and vice versa. And I think it really opened my eyes to just how varied the world really is and how beautiful and diverse it is. And it definitely helped me to feel less like I was forcing myself to be a specific version of I guess being trans, which is ridiculous and madness really, because there are so many different ways to be human and we don't need to feel forced into these boxes. And I think that's definitely the thing that I love the most about having being a streamer, being a content creator. I'm constantly learning as well, which is amazing. I'm constantly being exposed to people who experience things differently, and it's so nice because I just feel like I'm just learning constantly about new people and how they experience their gender identities, how they experience their sexual orientations, and it's just a wonderful resource. It's really nice to be able to do that because I definitely would never have learned any of those things if I was just in my hometown with no access to the internet. And I'm not sure I would have even come out if I didn't. I'm very grateful for it and the growth that it's given me as a person too.
I'll thank you so much for also talking about that because I was like, there's so many times where I feel like I have to prove something. I have to be more of something. I have to like hit you over the head with a frying pan kind of comedy sort of vibe, but with like my identity all the time, especially when I was like actively, like I was auditioning as an actor and stuff. They're like, we need you to come in looking more like what a non-binary person would look like. And the
What does
mental
that look
gymnastics.
like?
I know. The
What?
mental gymnastics. And you know what they want, but it's awful because you're like, I don't want to do that for you. I need money. I hate this so much. And so it really is this like mental gymnastics of like, okay, hold on, let me make sure you get it. And I'm like, I don't. And I think that's where the walls came up with like feeling like, I don't care if you get it. But then,
Yeah. I mean, because
For
they
sure.
want you in that checkbox so they don't have to do the work to understand. But
Mhm.
meanwhile, you're doing the work on yourself this entire time. No, no, no. You can take the time, you can take the work to figure out
Yeah.
who I am. It's not hard. It's not
Mhm.
rocket science.
You know,
Trust me, you wouldn't pass if it was.
They act
No.
like it is. They love to.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the main things that I've heard a lot more since, learning more about like non-binary and stuff. And I feel like my pronouns change all the time. I she, her, them. I don't really care. I'm one of those people that's more like I like to describe myself as I identify as a woman, but sometimes I'm just a little guy. Like I don't. It's kind of whatever. And I feel like one of the main things that I've like thought about myself, because it's like I present very femme pretty much all the time, and it's like I think I keep hearing is like non-binary people or any like nobody owes you androgyny. You don't owe anybody androgyny. You can do whatever you want, and that's fine, and that's great. And that's been a thing that has like helped me feel like it's chill to sometimes just kind of be whatever. Because it's like I don't really have days where I want to dress more androgynous, really. I just kind of am like, whatever. So yeah, I think that's great. Just you don't have to force yourself into a little box because that's goofy.
Exactly. Because it's like that thing is like, I don't want to wear a dress today. I'm sorry I
Yeah.
didn't want to wear a dress today. I wanted to just wear pants because it's also kind of cold out. It's kind of cold out, and I want to wear pants. And I'm not doing the jumpsuit today. I'm not doing the jumpsuit today. And it's like you don't. But now I've gotten to the point. I was like, I do it when I want to do it. I do whatever I want whenever I want to do. We don't do anything in this life out of obligation. No more. So that's what I always say. I'm like, I don't do it out of. I can't do anything out of obligation.
Something that like I love when I go into like a streamer's like chats or something is when they have like the pronoun check
Yes.
redemption and everyone puts all their pronouns in chat. That is also like a way of affirming and also affirming, but also giving you the opportunity to switch things up if you want to. Like if you are
Mhm.
someone who wants to try using he, they for like a day just to see how it goes. I've seen a lot of people in like my chat, I've seen people in Ashley's chat where they've been like, I think I want to try she, they today and see how I feel about it. And then chat's like, oh, let's go. Okay. Look at
Exactly.
them. We love to see it. And like the
Yeah.
validation of that and it's in a way like putting something on to see if it fits for you and if you like it. And then just the community support and the validation is also very nice because you know you have people behind you, people who have your back to support your identity as well. And that's just it's big. It's really big.
It's huge. It makes me emotional thinking about it because it's like you're like the fact that everyone gets behind everyone. It's like, baby, figure it out. Keep switching it around if you want to. You can change it again
Yeah.
tomorrow. I don't care.
Look, we're
I
ready.
don't care.
We came prepared. We are ready for
But
this.
do you ever feel like the sense of like, hey, I'm so like I feel like the sense of apology from people when they come in and they're like, hey, I'm switching things up, and I'm like, don't apologize to me.
Yeah.
I'm honored that you told me.
Yeah, no, I'm like, oh my god,
I'm
this is
feeling
a
safe.
privilege. Like,
This
thank
is
you.
Yeah.
privilege.
Like, thank you for trusting me with this. Like, there are some people in my community who will like change their names and just be like, hey,
Yes.
I'm like vibing with this now. Is that cool? And I'm like, yeah. And I like just update their nickname just so I like have it so I can go out of my way to call them that more. And it's just like
That's
Yeah.
so
easy.
big.
Like, don't apologize for being yourself. I
Yeah.
can't. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do about it? Realistically, what am I gonna do? That's
Mhm.
this is your journey, and I'm not gonna be the narrator of your journey. You're the narrator of your journey.
Yes.
So you got this, and we're here to support you every step of the way because
Absolutely.
I don't know. It's just who we are.
Whatever.
We're cool
Just
like
chill,
that.
just chill.
We're just like cool like that.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about it a little bit, but obviously in journeys there are always going to be obstacles. Have you encountered any obstacles and how did you navigate them? And I'll start with Ian.
None. Could you imagine?
Absolutely not. I've had an easy time.
Wouldn't that be
Zero, like,
so
ever.
nice?
Like my life has been super easy and nothing
Like
bad has
everything
ever
just falls
happened.
into my lap. It's great.
Mhm.
No. The thing I currently am struggling with is I finally decided to go back in the dating scene, which I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? And it's really hard. There's this like mental gymnastics of like, do I discuss gender fluidity? Do I discuss any pronouns and stuff? Because like it doesn't normally come up in like a random like getting like dinner with someone. Like it's not going to always randomly come up. And so it's this like sort of moment where I have worked on like if it feel like talk about it, you bring it up and you talk about it. But there is that sort of thing of like, do I say anything? And I hate this mental gymnastics I'm doing to myself because you think you're so evolved. Oh, I thought I had it all. I thought it was perfect now. And it's like, nope, baby, we still have work to do because it is this sort of thing of like, well, I'm afraid they're going to be like, ugh, and rude to me. And I don't want to deal with that. Why am I afraid of that? I don't know, but I am.
That's 100% valid. I like it when people like when I first meet people for the first time, they ask me what my pronouns are,
Oh yeah.
and I'm just like, wow. Like I've always gotten used to that on the online space, but when I'm meeting someone in person, I'm just like, oh my god, wait, yeah, hi, yeah, these are my pronouns. Thank you so much for asking that and like normalizing asking that question because
Yes.
it's just important. Bea, what about you?
That the main obstacles I ever experienced are the medical process, I think. In the UK, obviously, we don't have like we don't do medical insurance. We have public healthcare that is free for everybody, which sounds wonderful, but it has huge waiting lists. And the biggest, I think, the worst thing for me was when I remember I got my letter when I first told my medical practitioner what I was going through. I got my letter and they told me my waiting list was going to be 4 years before anybody would even speak to me.
Good God.
So that was terrifying because I think at the time you think like I have to be this way for 4 more years with no help, no one to talk to, and just doing this by yourself. It's really scary. But again, the like fitting into boxes thing, it really freaked me out. It got luckily for me right before I actually was seen, the UK changed some of the laws on and the rule sets as rules, as if they should have rules for just
Right.
existing as you are. Um, anyway, the rules of what you need to essentially meet to access the services. So they did get better. There's still a long way to go, but it got better. So it was slightly less scary. And when I actually got to be seen by somebody and I told them my concerns, they told me that I didn't need to be as worried as I was. I was like, the language is so frightening. It's so scary. It's okay saying that you don't need to be that worried, but when somebody's brand new, I was like 16 years old. And you're giving them this sheet of things saying, well, are you feeling these things? Because if you are, cool. If you're not, then meh, we're gonna probably just leave you. It's terrifying. And I think in addition to that, the only other obstacles that really I experience is as a person, and especially because of like childhood trauma that I experienced growing up, I struggle a lot with other people affirming me. It's sort of like I feel like if I'm not being affirmed by people, I really struggle with that. It really affects
Mhm.
my mental health. So anybody not liking me and doing the opposite really stresses me out. Even if I don't know them and I've never met them in my life, anybody disliking me just it really causes me a lot of mental strain. And I'm trying really hard with therapy to work through that specifically of not being as bothered by what people think, but like it can be like somebody can just say something on Twitter or social media or whatever and my entire week can be ruined, not just
Mhm.
a day. Like I can just read one thing and I can't stop thinking about it for a week and all I can do is sleep and that's it because it's just like so overwhelming. So I think the best thing I did this year was come off of social medias because being on them was I know my limits now, and that's the
Mhm.
first step that me and my therapist went through is like figuring out what my limits are, and my limits are no social media. Because I can't, even if there's positivity there, I can't read the negativity too. It's just too much for me. So I think my biggest obstacle that I've been trying to come over, especially with trying to accept myself, I think, is that every time people would say something negative about it, I would set myself back rather than recognizing that it's their problem, not mine. I would sort of
Mhm.
make it my own problem, if you know what I mean. And so
Mhm.
that was my biggest issue. I would beat myself up a lot about it because I was like, well, with the job I do, I have to have social media. I can't just come off of social media. I'll lose my job or whatever. But it is ridiculous to think that way. Whatever limit you have for yourself, whether that's a certain amount of time a day or a certain amount of times a week or just not at all, there is nothing wrong with that. And I don't know why for years I allowed myself to believe that I had to do these things. Because I don't. And not being on it makes my life so much better personally. So setting myself those limits has been a huge positive for me. Even if it does mean that I'm a little bit like unaware of things now. People tell me stuff about pop culture stuff now, and I'm like, huh? I have no idea what you're talking about because I don't use social media anymore. But in a way, it's allowed me so much space because for when I started growing as a YouTuber and a Twitch streamer, I was working so much, and like most people are, like when you're growing, we work a ridiculous amount. We probably still do even now. And at some points, I was working like 16 hours a day and like barely sleeping. And my job still is a 7-day job, as I'm sure you guys know. You never really switch off. And I think I've from coming off of social media and taking that part out of my daily routine, it's allowed me time to actually go outside or actually stop sometimes and just sit. For some reason, for years, I felt like I couldn't just sit and do nothing. I had to do something all the time. Like, even if it's just like checking Discord or doing admin work or doing something. And every single time you do, there'll always be something you'll read and it'll just bring you down and make you miserable. This year is the first time in my life that I've really just been like, you know what? I can take time. I can just spend an hour just literally melting on the couch and doing nothing if I want to, and that's okay. And it's been massively helpful to just be able to breathe and remind myself that right now the only person who needs to approve of me is me. Um, it's not a process. There are days when I wake up and don't feel that way, of course. We're only human. But yeah, I think ultimately, that all encompassing, my biggest obstacle is accepting myself and just recognizing that all these different opinions and thoughts of everybody else are not important. It's just how I feel.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I loved everything that you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like a proposition for you. Have you ever considered becoming a villain? Because hear me out. It's in. Everyone should just be a villain. It's you focusing on you at the end of the day.
Mhm.
It's a
I
It's
could not
scary,
agree more with
Bliss.
that. Honestly, it is wonderful because I think you will all, I'm sure, felt this too as creators, but we seem to have, especially when we're first growing as well, change ourselves with other people. Like they'll tell us things they don't like about us, so we'll change them. Why are we doing that? If
No,
somebody
double
doesn't like
down.
something, why are we
Yeah.
doing that? Like people could say like the most awful things, and if I don't do what they say, they'll then say I'm ignoring criticism. I'm not gonna change because you want me to. I've done
Mhm.
that, and funnily enough, surprise, when you change for other people, they'll just want you to change more. They'll find
Mhm.
another reason
Yeah.
why they still don't like you. Because if they don't like you, they just don't like you. That's just the way it is. I completely agree. That's a good way to put it. I'm gonna be the villain. I like that.
Wait, I'm loving your villain era now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Woo!
I'm all
It
for
begins.
it.
I've already got a cat, so I can spin around in chairs.
There
Yeah.
we
Like
go.
I've got a British accent, so I feel like that works for me too.
Beautiful.
Like that's it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be the villain.
So good. Yeah. With what you're saying about like social media stuff, I touched on it like earlier before we brought you both on, that it's like a lot of the time it's hard. You can hear 600 nice things about yourself, but then that one thing won't leave. And that's just so prevalent on social media. So good for you, honestly, for just like knowing and knowing your limits and just being like, no, because it's hard to do that, especially like in our industry. Like you said, it's like you tell yourself you have to be on. So you being free is so great, and I'm so happy for you.
Well, it gives us more permission to also be like, wait, I could be more free. I need to
Yes.
let some of that go. I need to let some of that go. Why am I doing that? And you
Mhm.
talking about like taking time to just do nothing. I
Yeah.
struggle all the time with it because I never really rest during that because I'm stressed out that I'm not doing something. And
Yeah.
so I'm just like, I'm like, do nothing and enjoy it. So you talking about that and taking the time for yourself and not guilt tripping yourself is something I'm still working on.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The other day, my partner, who I love dearly, we were out and I was talking about the fact that I was like relaxing, and he looked at me in the most serious voice ever. He's like, "Ashley, I do not think you know how to relax." And I'm like, cool, very cool.
I
very
have
cool.
heard those words many, many times.
Yeah.
So many times. So many
Like,
times.
I can relax. And then he just looked at me and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, my family regularly do things like they'll look over at me and when I'm like, say I'll go out for a family meal, they'll look at me on my phone, they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm definitely not planning my schedule for next week. I don't know what you're talking. I'm definitely not reading business emails right now. I don't know
Yeah,
what you're
don't pay
talking
attention
about.
to that. What?
Yeah, what?
No.
I'm
Hello?
not doing
No?
it.
Don't look at me, you know?
I think the best thing with all encompassing, because people love to give their opinions on things, the best thing that I think I ever told myself this year was, it's my channel. As long as I'm
Yeah.
not hurting anyone, I can do whatever I want. I can not post today. I can post twice today. I can post a different video if I want to. I can play a different game on stream today because it's your channel. And
Mhm.
as long as you're not harming anyone, there is literally no reason why anybody else should have a say in what you do on it. It's
Love
so
it.
infuriating sometimes.
Oh,
I could talk about this for hours.
Yes, honestly, I totally could. My gosh. It's a good topic, I feel like not a lot of people talk about enough because it feels like embarrassing, kind of.
yes.
It's just kind of like, yeah, no, I don't know how to relax, and I don't know what to do about it. So, woo, you know. But no, it's nice to talk about for sure. Yeah, thank you for chatting about it with us. However, we've got still a heck of a list of questions, but because it is Trans Awareness Week this week, happy Trans Awareness Week, wonderful, wonderful. What does Trans Awareness Week mean to you, and why do you think it's important for us to recognize this week? Bea, we can start with you this time.
I mean, obviously, when you're growing up and especially when you're questioning yourself and you don't know what you're feeling, I feel like there's so much pressure to figure yourself out sometimes. You know, when you always feel that pressure, don't you, to label yourself and so much intense pressure to figure out what you're feeling. When I was growing up, I found it impossible to understand my feelings. People always say to me like, "How long did you know you were trans?" And I'm like, "Well, I've known I was actually trans since I was like 15, but I knew there was something way before that, like my entire life. I didn't know what it was though because I didn't have the language. I think that's the main thing is I didn't know the words to describe what I was feeling. When I was growing up, there was no things like this. There was no like Trans Awareness Week. There was no National Coming Out Days. There was no, people to even. I couldn't even Google it. If I did, then nothing was going to come up because nothing. No one knew. I couldn't ask my parents. I couldn't ask anybody else because none of them knew what that was or how it felt or what I was going through. So I think having a week dedicated to just allowing people to explore who they are, talk about it, talk about their experiences, learn, ask questions, just literally a week to just for me it's kind of like I feel like it's a week to just breathe. I don't need to be anyone else. I don't need to do that anyway necessarily, but we all play a character to a level every single day in our lives. And I feel like it's a week where people know what they're expecting. They know what we're going to talk about. We know what we're going to do. And I can just breathe and be unapologetically myself and talk about it for hours and hours and hours and hours. As much as I want to, just keep going on and on and on about it. And I love as well when people, especially during this happens all year, but especially during like this week as well, Trans Awareness Week and stuff. I love when people come to my channel and they share those stories too, and they say things like, you giving me the space to be able to talk about this in in your community has helped me to feel more comfortable in who I am, or helped me to discover who I am, or what I was feeling, and things like that. And I just think that it's so beautiful to even get to be a part of somebody else's journey, I guess, because obviously nobody got to be a part of mine necessarily. And I think it's really nice to know that I kind of imagine in my head I'm like a ghost walking along and holding their hand as they go through their like process of figuring it out. You know what I mean? I think telling them you're important enough to have this time. This time is dedicated to you and to all the people feeling the way you're feeling is just such a nice way to remind people that there's nothing wrong with you. And I think that's the biggest thing to remind people is that there's nothing wrong with you and it's okay and you're valid and you're important. And I think that's one of the best things that Trans Awareness Week does. Just remind people, especially because I think sometimes when you're talking about like LGBTQ plus people as a whole, a lot of focus on awareness goes towards the first couple letters sometimes, which is great and important. But sometimes it's nice to just have that time for trans people to really just, and people under the trans umbrella to just really be embraced. And I'm really grateful for it because we have Pride Month, which is amazing. But I feel like a lot of focus in Pride Month does go towards like, lesbian and gay and bisexual and stuff like that, which is important and amazing. But I do feel like sometimes we just need to give that little extra boost towards trans and non-binary people just to remind them that they're seen as well and they're important as well.
Yeah, that is so true and literally speak on it because it is a highlight of the first couple of letters every time. And it's like,
Yeah.
there's more community here. You need to also see everything else. So thank you so much for saying that.
For sure,
Uh,
for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, and I agree with everything you said, but also like it's I remember because like seeing National Coming Out Day on social media and stuff and seeing people in my life come out on social media was actually made me feel more confident. And I just feel like seeing just in social media, like Trans Awareness Week it's so nice to feel like there is like a plethora of people out there that are just like you, but you just don't, or maybe have parts that are like you, but you don't get to see it. And it's so nice to have it pushed forward because sometimes you have to push it forward. We can't all just be like, where is it? Where are they? Where are they? We need to just like, people need to put the money where your mouth is and like showcase those types of creators and stuff. So seeing this also just makes it go like this would have been made my life so much easier when I was younger. I always go back to that. And that's where my brain immediately goes to. Like this people seeing this and being aware of this makes someone's life easier than it was for me. And that is just I don't know, it makes me so happy.
Right.
Well, to kind of talk about our next thing. So we've constantly talked about like representation all throughout this conversation, but there's also education being tied into Trans Awareness Week. It can be very difficult to navigate the conversation circling around your own identity. So my question to you all, and we'll start with Ian, is what are some ways that you can make sure your mental health takes priority when having these conversations?
Oh, See, that is hard. I don't know. I don't always succeed at it, to be honest, right? Because it's so easy to get like pulled into some sort of the muck of it. I don't do bad faith anymore. You know what I mean? You could sense it, you could smell it out when someone is just trying to get you.
Yeah.
And I just kind of talk wherever I feel confident and comfortable. And I stop trying to wait, what is the right thing to say? What is the thing I should do? What is the thing I should do? I'm like, speak from the heart, because that's the only thing we could genuinely do. And so that's usually how I navigate it. But it is like taking, I don't have to answer anything, right? I give myself permission to like, I am not going there. I see, I'm not going to do that, and allowing myself to do that, because as someone who is a little bit of a people pleaser, it's really hard to tell someone no, but it is a complete sentence. And I'm like,
Yes.
I'm learning to just be like, I'm not going there. I'm having so much fun and I'm so happy right now. You are not doing this to me right now.
Yeah, no is like one of my favorite words.
Mhm.
I learned it when working for the government and telling men in full military uniforms no, and them having a hissy fit about it. So I love the word no. I think it's very amazing. You were talking about answering questions, and I literally was just going to be like, you don't even have to answer this question
No,
if you didn't
Yep.
want
you ignore them. Be
to.
like,
You can completely ignore it.
But
But
I
I do
do
appreciate it.
now. I do now, which is really cool though. Like I could like a year ago. No, I'm like, wait, I need to make sure that this person knows that I'm taking the time and all of this stuff, and then I burn myself out
yeah.
because I'm giving so much, and even when I don't feel fully safe in that moment. So now I'm like, wait, we're getting better. So let's celebrate that.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. No, it's totally hard. For sure.
B, what about you? What do you do to find ways to like put your mental health first or make it a priority when having these conversations?
Sometimes I think it's probably isn't the best way to handle it, but sometimes I try to remind myself that a lot of the people that who I'm talking for or towards are probably in a place that I was in 10 years ago. And so sometimes when I'm feeling really anxious or nervous or my mental health maybe potentially impacted by the space that I'm speaking in, because I have spoken in places where you're more likely to receive backlash before. I think I try to remind myself sometimes that even when all these people might have this negative reaction to what I'm saying, there is probably at least one person sat out there right now who is quietly thinking, "I'm so glad I'm not on my own," and feeling affirmed by what I'm saying. So sometimes I remind myself that no matter how bad I might feel right now, I get to go home later.
Mhm.
But there's other people out there right now who their home isn't safe for them or isn't a comfortable place or isn't an affirming space for them. And so I'm speaking for them, I suppose, sometimes. And then also I remind myself that if I turn my computer off, what are they going to do? Because
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
so sometimes I try to remind myself that I can, whenever it gets really intense online, sometimes I have spoken in person before, so maybe not so much the computer turning off thing, but in online spaces, I know that, when it's over, I'm going to turn it off and go back to my cat and my family, and I'm going to be fine. So
Mhm.
sometimes I like to remind myself of that too.
Yeah,
I say
sometimes
it's
it's great to
like
just
that.
let them scream themselves into oblivion, you know? It's like
Sometimes I
they're
quite
just tiring
enjoy it.
themselves out. You don't have to pay attention, and then they'll like leave eventually.
Sometimes I kind of maybe I should be in my villain act, because sometimes I do kind of enjoy thinking that they're just sort of screaming into the abyss and all the mental anguish they're going through while I'm completely unbothered. Because it must take a
Yes.
lot of brain power from them to waste their day doing that.
I'm loving
Mhm.
your villain era.
It's so good.
you're
See, I
you're
think
on
it's
you're on a good
wonderful.
route. But no, I was thinking of the when you were saying like someone could be on the sidelines thinking like I'm not alone. I started thinking about the like whole Lady Gaga quote where it's like there's one person in a room type of thing where it could just be one person in the room that you're affecting out of like 100 people. That is still a successful thing. That is still successful. You're still doing something really good because you're also letting people know that you are a resource and you are a safe place, a safe person to go to because they can see or see themselves in you or relate to you. So I like that. I really do.
Mhm.
Mm.
Very, very nice. I I really do love the way that like you center yourself by trying to think about those other people, because there was like a time in my life, I feel like I'm gonna call back to like multiple things that you said today, V, because I feel like there resonated a lot with me, like when you talked about not having like the vocabulary to know who you were. Like I also grew up in a small town in semi-rural Ontario. And I first found out that you could be gay when I was like 10. So I remember going to my mom and being like, hey, did you know that this was a thing? She's like, yeah. But I
You're not gonna
didn't.
believe this.
And then it was just like, I definitely, like, growing up, something was up, but I didn't know what it was, right? Like, and it's like so important to like have that. And then, like, that like goes with like someone, like you speaking to someone, like, I had that for me, like listening to other people talk about their experiences and like coming out and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, hey, wait, that's what's going on with me. And so that's super awesome because yeah, you can impact people so much and so easily. And it's nice that it's like you're willing to do that kind of, because like obviously it's really hard and mentally taxing, but just being like, you know what, I can handle it because I get to go chill, and then these people can have a little bit of a bright spot, which is very heartwarming. It makes me very happy. It's very great. But yeah. Oh, this is a great question. There's a couple great questions back to back here. So my first question is, what is one piece of advice that you have for viewers who may be struggling with their gender identity? Speaking of impacting someone, Ian, we can start with you.
When you're struggling with your like gender identity, I think be patient with yourself. Like, why are we're so hard on ourselves to feel like we have to have it all figured out? Baby, I don't have it all figured out at all. And I'm just still just going through life, picking up things as I go around. Like I say, I'm still on my gender journey always. And if you feel like I'm not exactly sure who I am, it's okay. Like there's different aspects of and different versions. Like people struggle in other aspects of who they are. And it's okay that you struggle with who you are gender identity wise, because it I don't know if it'll crystallize, right? I don't know if it ever just like immediately goes like, wow, I know it immediately. But you will see things illuminating and you're like, oh, it's like a giant riddle just got solved. You're like, oh, stars above. Super random reference. But it's just like that moment of like, aha. And it happens and you can't force it to happen. It just kind of like you go, oh, that's lovely. And you can't I can't even explain it. It just is this like sort of thing where you get more sure of yourself in that aspect.
It's
So be patient.
funny in a way because you keep saying like journey, and I'm just imagining you on an RPG like journey quest. You're in your own Baldur's Gate 3 right now.
Mhm.
That's gonna be my Baldur's Gate run.
This is your Baldur's Gate run right now. Is
Yes.
your life.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Thank you.
Beautiful.
B, what about you? What piece of advice did you have?
Yeah, I definitely agree that being patient is important. I feel like everybody, when people come to our streams to ask me questions or like advice on things, the usual question I get is like, I'm not necessarily ready to come out, but how do I? I feel like I need to,
Mhm.
or I need to label myself, or I need a word for what I'm experiencing. Surprise, you didn't. You don't actually need to label yourself at all in the first place, but if you really want to, you can take as much time as you need to figure it out. In fact, if you want to use one right now so badly, you can change later. That's okay.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people say that, like, I feel like I might be a lesbian, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to say I am and then change my mind later. Why? That's fine.
Yeah.
If you want to refer to yourself as that right now, and you realize later that actually no, you might be pansexual, that's fine. There is
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that. Just let people. If you want people to know, you can let them know. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can just say, "Hey, by the way, actually, I realized I'm this now," or whatever, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to put so much pressure on yourself. I feel like it stems from our school days of being told that we have to know what we want to do when we leave school. Like, are you going to college? What job are you
Yeah.
going to do? You need to figure it out by the time you're 15. What? That doesn't make any sense.
No.
I still don't even know what I want to do for the rest of my life now. Like, this, I do I want to do this forever? Probably not. I want to do a million things, you
Mhm.
know? And it's perfectly fine for you to not know yet both who you are and what you want to do. You can figure those things out as time goes on. Stop pressuring yourself. Remember to breathe sometimes. People always say, like, stop and smell the roses. Like, actually do. Like, stop sometimes and just, enjoy your life, because I've pressured myself so much to figure out who I was, and now I look back and I'm like, I wish I'd have been a kid. I wish I'd have actually just enjoyed being a teenager and enjoyed life, because I barely have any memories from being a teenager because it was so engulfed with figuring out my identity and pressuring myself so much. I wish I'd have given myself some more time to just actually exist back then. And the biggest thing as well, when I was growing up, I constantly felt like I wanted everything to happen right now. I feel like we live in a society that is like all based upon like immediate, what's the word? I forgot the word. Immediate like good feelings.
Gratification?
That's it, gratification, immediate gratification for everything. And so we feel like everything has to be fixed and sorted out right now. And of course you want it to be sorted out if you know what you're going through and you want to get to the solution. But it is a growing period. It does take time and it does get better. Call back. And you've just got to remember that, because when I was growing up, I felt like it wasn't. I remember saying to my mom all the time, when is it going to get better? When is it going to improve? Why hasn't it yet? I've been waiting so long for it to get better. I can say now with confidence as an adult, like 10 years on from feeling that way, it does. You just have to be patient and breathe and remember you here. That's what's most important. And keep working through it and you will get there.
Yeah, I like that because again, no one is obligated to your story. No one's obligated to like have you are not obligated to say who you are to anyone. Again, you're not even obligated to answer these questions. So thank you so much for doing that. But that's one of the biggest things is this is your story. This is your life. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. It's just you. You can prove it to yourself if you would want to, but it is completely up to you.
I have a tattoo about that. This is my story, by the way. It is a video game reference, but I have it tattooed because it resonated with me. Specifically about this kind of stuff.
It's a cute tattoo. So it was all already, y'all kind of gave like really good answers. So the second like question after this one was like, so what is one thing that you would like to, or you would like your viewers to know, or want your viewers to know?
Want to leave this stream knowing?
Yes, there we go. What is one thing you would want your viewers watching to leave this stream knowing? Reading is very fundamental. We'll start with B.
You are exactly who you are supposed to be, even if you don't yet know who that person is. You can take as much time as you need to figure it out, but whoever you end up figuring out you are, or whoever you already know you are, that's who you're supposed to be. And you're valid and special and important, exactly who you are.
Beautiful.
I was just gonna say you are enough, but you already ate that up. You
So you
ate
have to
that
find a
up,
different
but you are though.
answer.
Like if you not knowing who you are or certain aspects, that's fine because you are good. You're great, and it's so easy to be like, but I don't know this about. I'm like, no, shut up. You're great, and it's okay. You're good, and like be kind to yourself. It's so easy to be nice to other people, and then we're just so nasty to ourselves, like so nasty. Me, when I was trying to hang up my curtains, I was so mean to myself. And I was like, no, you've never done this. Be nicer to yourself. You would never talk. If Blizz was here hanging up your curtains, you would not yell at Blizz if he made a mistake, if anyone made a mistake.
I'll cry.
No one.
I'll cry if that's what
I would
happens.
not, and I just that, but like it's just this natural thing where we hold ourselves up to this ridiculous like standard of being perfect or knowing everything, being word perfect, and so you're gonna make mistakes, and the mistakes are fine. They're fine. You're not. It's nothing bad. I mean, nothing bad's gonna happen if you make a little mistake. It's okay.
Sometimes you don't know how to read, and that's okay.
Yeah, Blizz, you're valid and you're enough.
Thank you.
True. No, I really do love that of like that's why I really love, working with It Gets Better, because it's so true. Because it's like I feel like when I was like younger and things were like hard, you always think it's like, when is it going to get better? Is it going to get better? When is it going to get better? And then one day you realize that it's better. And it like hits you kind of like a ton of bricks where you're like, oh my God, like I'm in the place that I wished I could be years ago. Yeah. And it doesn't happen right away. It sneaks up on you. So it's like you spend all your time waiting for it to just suddenly be better. But like, just be patient with yourself and your journey and your surroundings. And then, yeah, you'll get there. I'm not going to cry. Everything's
so emotional. Like, this is so nice to be talking with other queer people. I just love this.
No crying aloud in this episode. I'm the gatekeeper of tears. Oh, God.
My goodness gracious. So wonderful. Well, this has been our wonderful little like batch of questions, but before we, say goodbye, where can we find you and continue to support your content? Please, self-promo, tell us all about your stuff, where we can find you. Bea, let's start with you.
If you like weird Roblox games that are focused heavily around fashion and talking a lot about LGBTQ plus stuff, which I'm assuming you do if you're here, then you can literally just search Bea Players on anything. Except Twitter. Anything else you can.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Amazing.
And Ian? What about you?
You can find me on all social media platforms. I need to get on Bea's like level and get rid of them, but it's okay. It's Ian Watson on all of them. Yeah, I stream a bunch of the cozy, cutesy games. I'm obsessed with them, especially because I wanted to say this also, I forgot. Because growing up, I played them, and they're now, you can be queer, and I can play my favorite. I was obsessed with Harvest Moon 64. It was my favorite game of all time, but I had to be closeted to play it, even in the game. And it was the fact that now I get to play that same game and just be like queer and just feel so good, and like it's so nice.
Before I let you leave, I have a question.
Yes.
So, did you play Wonderful Life?
Yes.
Okay, of course. Yes. So, how incredible is it being able to be queer in that now, when Story of Seasons? I literally have cried like multiple times about it.
I like now, because like I loved all the other games so much because it was so much about like dating everyone and see all the cutscenes. But this one, I'm like, I want to start my life with Rock. I'm ready to start my life with Rock. And I'm like, that is bananas. I never thought that would be my reality. And it's such a subtle thing, but playing my farming sim where I could go around and be with my husband is so freaking cool. I'm playing Coral Island, I'm playing all of them. I'm obsessed with them. And we have a Mario Kart tournament this weekend.
So exciting, so fun. Super exciting. Anyways, I just want to touch on that because you can be queer, and you can also choose your pronouns in the new Harvest Moon as well, right? Like you can. So good. Happy Trans Awareness Week. Yes, thank you guys so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure, an amazing time chatting with you. Thank you for answering our questions and sharing so much about yourselves and your journey. You are delightful, incredible presences. My heart and soul are so full. It's made my freaking day. I love these streams where we can chat with some fellow wonderful queer folks and just get to know each other. It's been great. So thank you very, very much.
Thank y'all. This was so much fun. It was a pleasure, and it was so comfortable, and I really appreciate y'all facilitating a very comfy discussion as well.
Wonderful. All right, have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your days, time zones, whatever. Thank you guys for being here. Goodbye.
Bye, friends. Goodbye.
See ya.
I have to hit the yes, leave straight. Okay, this is a lot.
My goodness, that was so much fun and so incredible. Gosh, I adore them very much.
Yeah, that was a fun just conversation to have. And it was, I don't know, they're both like super knowledgeable creators.
Yes.
And I'm just like sitting here, like I could listen to you talk for hours on hours on hours and just be completely entertained the entire time, being like, I'm learning so much. And also just being in your presence is amazing.
Yeah, it was so nice. Such good energy. I love My heart. Good golly. Oh, so good. But we still have a little bit more It Gets Better news to talk about. Some exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can just like jump right into it. We have a wonderful year-end campaign with the It Gets Better project. It's called Believe in Better, and it's now live as of today. Over the last 2 years, their campaign has accomplished granting LGBTQ plus students more than $1.2 million to create safe spaces in schools across the United States and in Canada, which is wonderful. We've created award-winning content series educating LGBTQ plus youth on safe sex ed, inclusive terminology, careers in STEM, and more. Handling LGBTQ plus youth handing the youth the mic to advocate for themselves, which we've seen like Youth Voices and everything just being absolutely incredible. And they've been at national conferences on our award-winning Twitch podcast, Perfectly Queer, and in interviews with major news outlets and more. So yeah, that's exclamation point Believe in Better. It's in the chat right now if you want to donate, and it's amazing. It's a wonderful cause, and super, super exciting that it's live today.
Yeah, also something that's really cool and interesting and also live. So y'all, the ambassador applications are now open for streamers who are interested in creating content on the It Gets Better Project Twitch channel. The applications are open now until December 4th for the 2024 cohort. Use the exclamation point ambassador command in chat to learn more on their website and apply. And definitely apply. Definitely
Yes,
apply.
it's wonderful. We have had so many of the It Gets Better ambassadors on the podcast. It's been such a good time. I absolutely adore every freaking ambassador. They're all wonderful. It's an amazing thing. So yes, if you were thinking about it and you know, the only thing holding you back is yourself, bestie. So if you want to and you're thinking about it, just do it. Just do it.
I'll be honest, I didn't know some of the pals were ambassadors until they were on the show, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on. What? So definitely do it because some amazing people are ambassadors, and I highly recommend that you'll be a part of the Cool Kids Club if you do. So do it.
Yes, 110%. We also have something super duper exciting that the wonderful, wonderful company Devolver Digital, I adore them, you adore them, they're fantastic. Their newest game, Karma Zoo, released yesterday along with their campaign to spread positivity by donating $10,000 to the It Gets Better project. Amazing! And as part of, isn't that great? As part of the campaign, Devolver is hoping to collect messages of kindness, and you can participate by sending your message to karmazoo@devolverdigital.com, which is so cute, and it makes me so happy. So if you've got some nuggets of like kindness and wisdom, you can email those over to karmazoo@devolverdigital.com. And
I'm excited about this because I actually am getting a code from It Gets Better Project, and I want to play this because it looks so cool and so cute. And also just knowing that this, like, Devolver is like, they're really nice and really sweet, and knowing that they also like donated $10,000 as well. That's amazing.
So incredible. Gosh, I love Devolver, and it just makes me happy. It's like, you know, when you're just like, ah, yes, Devolver, those are good people. And then you continuously just see them being good people. Yeah. They're doing good people. Look, and yeah, what the theme of the episode is companies putting their money where their mouth is.
Companies putting the money. When Ian said that, I was like, yep, you know what's up.
So great. So wonderful. Yeah, those are wonderful things. But you know what we didn't do at the beginning of the episode, the top of the episode, Blizz?
What?
I didn't ask you what you've been up to this week and what you're looking forward to next week.
I honestly, I'm gonna be real. This week sucked. I know it sucked. I was busy. I was dealing with like a lot of different projects and kind of playing catch up. But I ended up doing working with a bunch of folks for a charity stream called Extra Life that my company does, and ended up raising $300,000 for the Children's Miracle Network. So that was a lot of fun because I got to play my show for it. But on the other hand, a lot was happening, like personal life stuff. So when I went to therapy, we talked about things and I learned about emotional burnout and how that is a real thing. And I've never experienced it like how I did before. And so going to therapy and actually finding like mechanisms to help me like vibe, chill, calm myself down, and also taking the time I need to process the world around me and take a breather is like so important. And I'm happy that I am like in a better place now. But this week, it had hands, Ashley. It had hands,
I'm so
but
sorry.
I'm coming back.
Look, as you should, as
We're
you always
so
do,
back.
bestie.
We're so back.
So back, never been more back, you know? Never been
What
more
about,
back, bestie.
what about you? How was your week?
Oh, I have been in the clutches of the fantasy genre, Blizz. Oh,
Oh
boy.
no.
Not just with Baldur's Gate, Blizz, but it came back. Baldur's Gate has gotten me in a chokehold once again. But I have been reading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, the sequel, and I moderately obsessed. And because of it, I started mayhaps writing my own fantasy novel. I haven't written a novel since 7th grade. So I'm
Wait, that's
trying.
exciting.
No, I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of not doing this because I feel like I have, you know, I feel like pretty intense ADHD sometimes. Specifically with out of sight, out of mind, where like literally I will forget about things completely, forget about any emotional attachments I have to things. So being like just dipped into a vat of fantasy in Baldur's Gate was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm obsessed. And then I read the first 2 ACOTAR books, and I was like, oh my god, right, fantasy novels. That was fun. I really like this. I think I might try to like start like writing. So I started like doing world building. And then I read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and I'm like, if I don't write a fantasy novel right now, I'm gonna freak out. So I'm very, very excited about it. And yeah, I've just, you know, I kind of forgot for a while how much the fantasy genre means to me. So I'm really, really stoked about it.
It's funny when you talk about out of sight, out of mind, because I talked to my chat about that, about object permanence. And they're like, yeah, no, we have ADHD. So, like, object
Yeah.
permanence, we're like basically like babies. Blizz, if you
Mhm.
disappear, we have no idea where you go. I'm like, I'm going to walk out of frame real quick. Blizz, where have you been? Where
What
are you? What
happened?
happened? What happened? Out of sight, out of mind. I'm like, does Blizz exist? Does
The-
Blizz not exist? It's Schrodinger's Blizz, apparently.
Schrodinger's Blizz. Yes. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
do you have like anything coming up this week that you're like excited about?
Not
Or are you doing
necessarily.
anything that's just relaxing, I guess? Or
I mean, in the next like before the next episode, I'm going to be taking a little trip to see a pal, and I'm not really sure if I want to talk specifics about it because I don't know if I want it to be a surprise yet. But
Okay.
I've been trying to plan it for a little bit. And it finally happened. The plan has been put in place. Because you know what it's like having 2 people with ADHD try to
Yep.
plan things.
It is very difficult.
So yeah, we did that. So that's really fun. But yeah, I think I just literally want to write more. I am on purpose planned nothing this weekend, so Max and I can just have time together. We're gonna go antiquing.
No, wait, I like that.
Yeah, that's it. See, what do you have? Do you relaxing coming up?
Yeah, so November, this is the first month I haven't had to travel for anything.
Yes. Oh my
So
god.
it's me relaxing. Friday I do have to do a stream, a little sponsored thing. But on Saturday, I think, and this is your fault, I might just like continue my Baldur's Gate playthrough. It's either that or playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor and finishing that one. So I'm just like, okay, this is where we are. So I'm gonna stay home, relax, really take time to myself, especially since I'm dealing with emotional burnout.
Yeah.
So taking time to really sit down and process, think, and just feel and exist and be. Um, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't know. I might plan a ski trip. We'll see. I've
Oh,
never gone
okay.
skiing before, so
Oh my god. I went skiing a couple times and hate it, but I was also thinking about planning a ski trip to try to overwrite my bad memories.
that's yeah. I'm afraid that like if I get on skis, I'm gonna be horrible. But like, there's only one way to learn.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you look, I'm gonna tell you right. You will, but you'll get better. Like, you can't expect yourself to get on something you've never, like, you're sliding on sticks. You don't, that's not a natural thing. You're not going to be good at it, but you'll get better and you'll be great.
Oh, something I forgot to mention last week, technically. I started doing badminton too.
Oh, fun.
I used to play like in college and I was like, I'm going to get back in there. Ashley, I joined an intermediate class. Why did I do that? I walk in, the racket I have, they immediately go, this is a bad racket. Here, use mine. Use this beginner racket. And I was like, oh, okay. Thanks. And then I start playing, and it's basically a bunch of like, it's a lot of older gentlemen just beating my butt in badminton. And I didn't realize, I thought I was good. I was not. But this is now motivating me to be better. It lit a fire, and I am ready. I'm going to train every day in badminton and win.
Yeah, you're going to win. I believe in you. You are going to win. And it's going to be great. And I'm so excited for you to win eventually.
Yeah. And so in like 2 weeks, I want to say December 7th is
Yes.
3 weeks technically.
3 weeks. Yes.
Because I think because Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So in 3 weeks, y'all, December 7th, we are going to be doing an episode that we technically talked about last episode, where we were like, we should just talk about like our favorite games. We should just talk about our favorite games. So it's gonna be a kind of free form episode of just me and Ashley talking about gaming, the gay stuff in gaming that we like, or games that maybe should have been gay. Should have been gay.
We're going to talk about, it's literally, if you ever wanted to just watch two people talk about things that they love very dearly, this is going to be it. And I'm warning everybody now. I hyperfixate on video games really hard. So I could talk for a long time. So I'm so sorry for this. I'm sorry to you. I'm sorry to everybody in chat. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a great time. I'm in gaming. I do gaming news, so I get video games and would love to talk to Ashley about it 24/7. So it's going to be a great time. You're definitely going to want to be here. You will hear about Baldur's Gate from me or from Ashley. You might hear about Alan Wake 2 from me or from Ashley.
Yes.
You might just hear a lot of things from us. So definitely
so many things. Prepared. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be great. Everyone's going to love it. It's just going to be a good time. But yeah, so mark that in your calendars. Get ready. Bring your favorite games, because I feel like it's going to be so freeform. We're definitely going to have so much to talk about with chat. So please come prepared to talk about your favorite games as well. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be great. But that's all I really have for you. Blizz, would you like to do a little, tell them where they can find you, what's up, and what you're doing soon?
Hi, I'm Blizz. Hi, everyone. Blizz here, and I am a true crime streamer and a variety streamer overall. Like, I do a lot of just chatting, reaction content, and cozy video games, but also scary video games, because I love scary video games. We recently played This Bed We Made, which was a murder mystery that was gay.
Love that.
I never said it in the trailer, figured it out halfway through that the vibes were somewhere, but it was a lot of fun. If you ever want a place to like come chill, hang out, talk about your day, it's definitely the space that we have. And I'm trying to think if I have any events coming up. I want to say no if I can't think of any. Oh, a sponsored stream tomorrow. If you want to come hang out and play some Party Animals, I'm going to play with the community.
Fun.
Party Animals is one of my favorite games and is currently nominated as one of the best multiplayer video games of the year for the Game Awards, and I think it should win.
It should.
But it should win 100%. So if you want to come hang out tomorrow, I'll be there tomorrow. And then I'm trying to do a lot of IRL streaming as well. I want to take chat to go get some ice cream. So planning that in the future as well. Ashley, what about you?
Fun. Look, before I just off, I'm just mad that I can't do IRL streaming because mobile plans in Canada suck and they don't let you really do that. So
yeah,
very cool. But yeah, hi, I'm Ashley Robato. Yes, you can find me pretty much anywhere online under that. That's my username everywhere. I have been getting back into Baldur's Gate. I've also been playing Alan Wake 2. I'm very much so into horror games and just kind of nostalgia games and just kind of whatever I feel like. Pretty much all of my tattoos have like a horror meaning. I think 2 of mine don't. So yeah, I'm really into horror games. I love Silent Hill. It's my favorite game series of all time. I actually have a Majora's Mask playthrough that I owe chat coming up soon. I am going to be playing Silent Hill Origins soon.
I also have a Majora's Mask behind me, and that's the best thing ever.
Yes, I love. But yeah, that's my favorite Zelda game. I'm going to be playing that soon. Going to be playing Soma soon because I've watched it. I've never played it myself.
Good luck.
Yeah, Silent Hill Origins, my least favorite Silent Hill game. My chat has bullied me enough to play it. So I'm going to be doing that, and it's going to be great. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. If you want to check us out, please do. Our links are in the chat right now. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your time zones wherever you are in the world. And thank you for being here and making a wonderful another perfectly queer episode. And Bliss, thank you so much for hosting with me tonight again, as usual.
Yeah. I'll see you in the double digits episode.
Oh God, yeah, I know. I can't believe it. Wild. Okay. Anyways, thank you all for hanging out. I hope you have a beautiful day. Goodbye.